Are grocery prices going through the roof, skyrocketing, surging? Well, NPR says maybe not. So let's find out why. So, if you didn't know, the NPR, National Public Radio, which apparently they write as well as talk, since 2018, they have been tracking the prices at Walmart. And this one particular reporter has been tracking the prices at, I'm guessing it's her local Walmart in Liberty County, Georgia. Okay. And back in December, she had a list of 96 items that she had been tracking over the years. And she went with the list in December, and she was going to buy everything on the list that had declined in price. Okay.
Yeah.
And basically, they found that almost exactly half of the items on her grocery list were the exact same price that they were a year ago. Okay. And out of that 96 items, 21 of them had actually gone down in price. That means that almost 20% of the list cost less. And if that all is not enough for you to go, what the? Keep this in mind. Everything on her list was pretty much name brand. There was a couple items when it came to like meats and produce that, of course, was more Great Value brand. But we're talking Quaker Oats, Blue Diamond, Goya, Ocean Spray, Reynolds Wrap. Like everything was, name brand. And so now they have this wonderful little chart, and we're just going to hit kind of the highlights here. But so some of the things that went down were things like the price of bananas, Quaker Oats, an 18-ounce container, skin on salmon fillets went down, boneless pork chops went down, red seedless grapes, fresh garlic. You see what I mean? It's all kind of random stuff, but it actually went down significantly, enough to where the unit price went down.
Yeah.
But wherever there are winners, there has to be losers. Okay?
Yeah.
Of course, if you're not aware, we have kind of an egg crisis as far as pricing's going right now. And Eggland's Best is something that's typically sold in Walmart, almost in all of their stores. And the price of eggs, just jumped up 46%. So that one I'm not shocked about. Go ahead.
I'm just going to buy a chicken.
I can tell you, I have read multiple studies that show that caring for chickens is more expensive than just buying the higher egg prices.
You remember when I had a chicken?
I know, but still.
She was a little rogue.
Yeah.
Keepers was a little rogue and like to play Easter egg hunt with us all the time.
You had your own Easter egg hunt every day.
Yeah.
Okay?
So if we didn't cut the grass, we were due. It was great.
I just keep thinking of like the rotten egg from like Charlotte's Web. That's just little egg bombs all over your backyard.
That was so much fun though.
Okay, so the one that surprised me on this list was Vaseline brand petroleum jelly cocoa butter. Okay, it went up almost 40%. The price of ground beef, but we had discussed that in another thing where that because of drought conditions, the price to raise beef is going up.
Yep.
Maxwell House coffee went up 21%. But what was interesting is she noticed some instances of shrinkflation that nobody's been talking about. Things like the Maxwell House coffee got smaller. So did the Tropicana orange juice, Tide laundry soap, and even the Reynolds aluminum foil was shrinkflation.
Like some of these aren't even small amounts. Like the coffee went down by just under half an ounce. So like that's okay. But the orange juice went from a 52-ounce container to a 46-ounce container, and the price went up, which is wild.
Which is wild. because you don't. But then again, if you remember, we talked about all of the disease that's going
Yeah.
on in the orange groves,
Yeah.
and that, big orange companies are getting out of the game. So it actually totally makes sense
Yeah.
that things like coffee and orange juice. I don't know what's going on with laundry soap and aluminum foil, because I don't think those two are related to like weather.
No.
But I will tell you that I saw an interesting thing that said sometimes what we think of as the price to make a product, we think of the actual product,
Raw
like the
material.
food
Yeah.
that's in the package. But we don't consider the cost of the packaging going up, the cost of marketing and advertising going up, or
Electricity.
in the case of like Pillsbury, just did a huge revamp on their little doughboy mascot. That
Yeah.
had to cost a gazillion dollars. Well,
Ugh.
who's paying for that? The cost of your Pillsbury, anything.
No. Well, and then the cost of electricity and the
Wages.
facilities, the wages, it all comes in play for sure. But the
But
problem's
when
like
you
it's hand in hand.
but when you think of cost, I mean, I always think of well, the price of this hasn't gone up. Well, it's the depending on the brand name, the amount that they pay for the actual product could be so small compared to all the other costs associated with it, which is one of the reasons why store brands and generic brands can offer lower prices, because they don't pay for marketing. They don't pay for, branding and design and mascots and stuff. And that
Right.
stuff really adds up. And you can't
Yeah.
eat a mascot, I mean, whether your box of cereal has Tony the Tiger on it or not really isn't going to change it that much.
I could try. It'd be
Like,
weird,
good.
but I could try.
That'd be great. Did I get it right? Did I get it right? I'm not up on all of my slogans, so
Nope, that's the one for Tony the Tiger. Be very
you got to think
fiber.
about it.
That's
But
okay.
I thought this was something that was very interesting, just because you never hear about prices going down. All you
Yeah.
hear about is prices going up. And there's even been some articles stating that they estimate grocery food prices in America to raise 5% in the next year.
Yeah. I'm not
Nobody
surprised.
talks about 20% of groceries going down in price, and especially brand names.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's good to recognize, and it does mean you really have to pay attention to the entire shelf. So like if your goal is to save money on things, it isn't always like I understand buying the same brand over and over again kind of can at least keep you a little more predictable as far as costs go. But like I think it's good to investigate new brands and new ingredient lists and things like that because you just never know what hidden price plus ingredient gem you'll come across.
Yeah, and I will note that one of some of the biggest price differences, the price of bananas went down 35%. The
Yeah,
price of Quaker oats went down 26%. The skin on salmon fillets went down 25%.
yeah.
Even the boneless pork chops went down 23%. So we're not even talking about little tiny differences. We're talking pretty significant differences.
I wonder, and then you have to, especially with things like the salmon and the pork chops and the bananas, like the fact that those items are going down could be because they had a higher yield this year. And so the value isn't as high when there's a scarcity of these items. And so pork has probably gone down just because we have seen a lot of fluctuation in volit. Nope, the word's gone. It left. Starts with a V.
Perimenopause strikes again.
Nope. I give up. A lot of movement. There we
A
go.
lot of movement. Yeah.
A lot of
And
movement.
it's totally normal for things like produce and meat to fluctuate.
Yeah.
People think of produce having seasons, for what's in harvest, what's, at its best price. But meat also is actually very seasonal. To give you just that, light bulb moment, Think about what goes on sale during the summer, like for Memorial Day and Labor Day and July 4th. That's when all the meats that you typically grill go on sale. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So think about in March is when you're going to buy corned beef, but for the rest of the year, you probably aren't going to buy it. The end of the year is when you're likely to buy whole chickens or whole turkeys, large hams. So there is a lot of seasonality to meat. So
Right.
whenever I see those prices fluctuate, it's very rare in most cases that it's not seasonal.
Right.
Now, in some cases like beef prices, we know there's a drought going on, which is raising the cost to feed the cows. So that
Yeah.
one is has a direct reason. So, but a lot of the other items that they had that went down were in fact things like produce, grapes, sweet potatoes, you know, so all that total garlic,
Yeah.
so totally see that. But some of the items that went like really, really high in prices were unexpected to me. Like I would not have guessed that it was, petroleum jelly from Vaseline was going to go up so much.
Right.
I also wasn't, I was expecting the coffee, and the eggs, but
Yeah.
some other things was the price of milk. Nobody's really been talking about the price of milk going up.
Oh, it's
Um,
definitely been going up.
but they also did like, in 2023, they were able to buy a 5 pound bag of Bolt House Farms carrots.
Yeah.
In they were saying that now they can only find the 2 pound bag. And I have noticed that a lot of stores no longer carry 1 pound bags of rice, like white rice. A lot of stores only carry 2 pound bags now,
Same thing with
which,
carrots, actually. I
yeah,
haven't seen a 1 pound bag in a long time unless it's baby carrots.
right. But I've also noticed that the size of carrots are very large. So if you
Yeah.
only bought a 1 pound bag of carrots, you could be talking about 3 carrots.
Yeah.
That's it. So interesting. But of course, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on grocery prices because I'm slightly obsessed with them. So
Just a little
I'm
bit.
sure we will have updates throughout the year. And if we noticed a huge skyrocket, in prices, we're going to let you know.
I would hope so.
Yeah.